Hey everybody, Akash Inti here, talking about the concept of mirror and match. We'll talk about why is this concept important? Why is mirror matching important? What am I even talking about? Why does it matter? And then lastly, how do you go about practicing this concept of mirroring and matching? So, why is this important? Mirror and matching is a really important technique in influence, sales, or persuasion. The whole concept enables you to tap into and understand what is the person who's sitting in front of you or standing or however they're arranged in the room, what are they feeling? And by getting a sense of what they're feeling, you're able to get a sense of how to take them to the next place which you'd like to take them, whether that be physically, in terms of location, whether that be in terms of their mind and their idea, or whether that be in terms of their emotions. So this is why we're talking about this concept of mirroring and matching. Now, second, what is mirroring and matching? Good question. Mirroring and matching is simply looking at someone else's body language and acting in the same way or positioning yourself in the same way that they are positioned physically. In other words, an example of this might be that you're standing in front of someone, you're sitting someone in front of someone, maybe it's a colleague, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a family member, and you see them kind of like this, looking up at the sky, thinking about something. Now, when you approach them the first time, you'll see them have you'll see them have this type of posture. If you wanted to move them from one state of mind, or you wanted to move them physically in one way, shape, or form, the best way to go about doing this would be through slowly coming about to this posture itself, finding out that they're here, and then continuing along with another thought. Another example of this might be that you're in a situation where you are selling a product, or you are bringing a new idea to someone that they may not necessarily be 100% on point with, or they may not be 100% on board with. The reason why they're not on board with it is simply that they haven't been educated. They haven't really been taught why this is an important topic or an important subject that they should be aware of. The concept of mirroring and matching throughout the conversation, you see them first, maybe they have their arms crossed. I'll show you here. Yeah. So maybe they have their arms crossed at first, and they're looking at you and they're kind of skeptical. So the concept of mirroring and matching, the way to apply this would be to when you step up to them and meet them, you cross your arms as well. And then slowly, as you continue to conversate with them and you show them, you start asking a couple questions, you're able to notice that maybe they start releasing some tension in their shoulders. So you release a little bit of tension in your shoulders. And then maybe they start looking through their phone for some type of information that's related to this. So maybe you slowly start taking out your phone. And you're not doing this in a way that's okay, they do it all of a sudden and then you do it right away, just like that. When you get very proficient at this, it kind of is you're almost naturally doing what they're doing because you feel this within your body, and you're so in tune with the other person in front of you that you're able to pick up on these small little cues, and you're able to see where are they going next. But when we first begin this technique, we start off by slowly going a bit slower than them. So maybe they pick up their phone, maybe a couple 30 seconds or so later, you slowly start going for your phone and you pick up your phone. The idea here is that you don't want to be overt about it, or in other words, you don't want to be um, explicit. You don't want someone to see that, like, oh, this guy's doing the exact same thing as I am doing. This is something that we try to avoid. And a better method of going about doing this would be to get a sense of where are they going. This is where we build towards where are they going, and knowing kind of based on their other forms of communication where they're going, we can use this. The other thing that would be important to do is to make sure that when you are mirroring and matching them, is that you're meeting them where they are. So that first part was mirroring that we talked about. Now talking about the matching part is that when you communicate and conversate with someone, you want to match their tonality, you wanna match their body language as much as possible, and you wanna match their energy level, if you will. So, when we talk about their tonality, when if they're talking in a really monotone voice and they're kind of like this the whole time, and it seems kind of boring to you, but this is the way that they talk, you would want to catch them on some type of similar rhythm. So you slowly start talking like this to them, and you keep matching them. Subconsciously, they'll think that you are being them because that's the way they talk, that's the way they communicate, etc. They understand that language very well. Now, in terms of body language, very similar things. So you see the person, as we talked about earlier, crossing their arms. This is how maybe they talk with most people. You cross your arms. Or maybe you see someone has their hands on their hips. You put your hands on your hips. Or maybe you see someone has their hand on their face. You put your hand on their face slowly. These are things that we slowly get a bit more attuned to, become more aware of them. And by doing this, the person in front of us or the person we're communicating with feels that there's a deeper connection because you're acting the way that they're acting. And so they feel that you are them. This is, again, as we talked about, sales, persuasion, influence technique. Lastly, we talked about energy. So if there's someone who's really excited and they're really jumpy and whatnot, and we want to match them on that level. So if you see someone who comes up and they're like super excited, like, yeah, we just won this competition, you'd be just right there with them, maybe even a slight touch higher. You'd be like, yeah, we did, and you'd go about. This is how you'd be on the same level as them. You'd be able to communicate and connect with them just like that. It's also really important to use the same words as them as much as possible, as best as we're able to. So in this case, if you hear someone use, it could be slang or street language, you'd want to use these in order to get more rapport with them or more in touch with them. So these small techniques of mirroring and matching are enable you to influence someone and persuade someone a bit better, and for you to connect with them better. This is where it starts with first, is connecting with someone first. We aim to connect with others as quickly as possible, and then take them to wherever they may need to be taken. In the sense of knowing that a product that you have and offer to them is best for them. This is why we do it this way. So it's important to remember that we do all of the things that we do ethically and with the best intention of the person that we seek to influence or persuade in mind. Yet at the same time, we need to show them and we need to connect with them first. And there needs to be some sort of trust established. And this is how we go about doing it, at least one scenario. So to recap, what why is mirror matching important? As we talked about, it's important because this is a skill that enables you to connect with someone a bit better, as well as to persuade them towards the things or products that they or services that they may need. What is mirroring and matching? Mirroring, as we talked about a bit earlier, is making sure that when you meet someone, you're copying their body language in a way that is calibrated or in a way that is not awkward, in other words. Matching is matching their tonality, their body language, their energy, as well as their words. So this is the what itself, and then we talked a bit about how do we do it. So again, to recap, how we go about doing this is making sure that when we see someone else and we seek to practice this skill, we take our time with it and we're not going super jumpy. We're simply becoming more aware of how are they moving their body, where is their energy level, what's the type of words that they're using, and what's the tonality that they're using. And we take assessments of these things, and from there, we slowly start to put ourselves in very similar positions. So it could be our body language becomes the same, our tonality becomes the same, we use the same type of words, and we approach with the same energy levels. So this is what I have for you guys tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I was on a little brief hiatus, but was catching up on some important work this past week. So I leave this to you guys. Hope you enjoyed and catch you guys on the next one. Peace.